Hello? Hello? All right, we'll get started in a little bit, everybody. Hello? Woo. How was that? All right, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome to it's technically, if we were online still, this is our first, and for you watching later on, it's our first in-person /stream that I think will work. We don't have any Zoom people. Last time the Zoom people, it was really hard to have in-person, online, also in-person /online. It was a nightmare. It was a headache. But we're happy that we're recording today. It's technically episode 8, Face the Sound, because now our faces get to feel the sounds, and it's very nice to be back. For those of you who are new and watching later on, and also everybody here, don't look. Look at the people, and maybe, every once in a while. But Nervous Ghost Press, we have our open mics, and they are truly open for anybody to come and share your art, poetry, music, dance, choreography, whatever it is, whatever makes you, whatever moves you, builds you, binds you, and so on. Art heals us. It is, I believe, the great unifier. And there are so many people in this room who wouldn't be in this room if not for art and together. Because there are some of you, and I don't know if I would hang out with you if we didn't have these events. And it's a really great way to come together, build communities, show the world that we are stronger than they want us to be. So as always, I'll open up. I'll start a poem. Then I have a first speaker is someone that I've worked with a while ago. And I'll call you up in a little bit. But there's a new poem. This is called The Killer is in the Nursery. It didn't used to be this way. Clawing at each other's throats, Frankenstein's monster knew better, but not now, not here. Stolen bodies under cinder blocks, not even the wicked stepsisters would touch, too broken, the blood impure and decaying. Born poor to learn how to die, don't look. The wrong gaze is a sentence of death, torture for young mommies raised and nurtured. The nursery is a stomping ground, stigmatized. But unlike Jesus, there is no sin. Praise something unfit for heaven. Faustus said everything is hell. The killers come from somewhere. Someone dreamed of hate and realized it. Come incorrectly so they remember an empty excess turning innocence inside out, wanting nothing more. There is nothing more. The nursery is in flames. The memories are blank and the photo albums are dust and dust and dust. No more will we be the righteous, the good, and the hopeful, weep for the lost. What could have been stopped? Nursery rhymes are ashes, images of punitive, loving care, empathy of strangeness, no hand safe for them, caught, swaddled, and tastes of mud. The nursery is mother and fatherless and cold. The nursery is home to the young and the bold, the someday no longer children, but more, not born, but made, not created, but became. The nursery failed what it was meant to save, and now haunts, extinguishable too early on the impressions made too strong to break. Too much work to change cycles and generations too late. The murderer has my eyes and shares my tongues, cradled and held with me in the streets, where ours, our values pure and just our organs. Stitched the same, given the cure at birth, but wasted, forged the way of broken things. Should have never been, but are and is and will be. It's them and us, it's you. It's me, the killer is in the nursery. And so the way this is going to work, for those of you who haven't been to a live one, I don't get to mute anybody, which kind of sucks because, the power was amazing. You just shut everybody off, turn off your cameras. It's going to be live. The feed is live. It's just going to keep going and going and going. So if you want to walk, come this way, and you can look at it instead of us seeing the back of your shoulder. But it's kind of fun. We're learning. We're excited. Alberto, come on up.
Good evening. So I got 3 poems today. One of them, I'm not going to say the title of the poem, which is the first one I'm going to say, because if I give the title away, it kind of gives the poem away. And yeah, and then I'll just read it. Chirping the day and night away, oh little birdie, you never fail to wake me up during a nap, especially when I have a long day. I always see you in the sky, flying away. You're not like other birds, though. You have no color in your wings. Instead of singing, you make a loud noise. Every time you fly over my house, my room starts to shake like an earthquake, and a bright light shines through my window. You're always there, no matter what. If it's 6 a.m. to wake me up for school, or it's 11 p.m. to let me know it's time for bed. Little birdie, you never fail to be there. I do wonder, little birdie, what are you looking for all day and night? No matter how many times you fly in a day, you're back outside tomorrow doing the same. And all you do is fly in the sky, letting everyone know you're there for as long as you want to be. And that poem's called Ghetto Bird. And the reason why I didn't say it is because I go to Long Beach State, and a lot of people over there have never lived in the barrio or in the hood. So it kind of gave me a huge perspective that some of the people didn't know that term. I thought everyone knew that term, so. And then how I explained it in the poem, they understood what I was talking about. So then this next poem is an acrostic poem, and if you're not aware of what an acrostic poem is, it's you look at an image and then you write a poem about the image. I feel like he's grading me right now. So the image that I did was the In Utero album of Nirvana. And this is called Dear Angel Lady. Dear Angel Lady, do you think it'd be better if I crawled back inside my mom's stomach? I'd be free of sin and pain from this world. I wouldn't have to worry about the rent being due. I'd be swimming all day and night, but nature said no. Instead, she birthed me, and I'm alive and complaining. I'm 22, and I still feel like an angsty 13-year-old. I find you fascinating, Angel Lady. You have no skin on you. I see everything that's inside you, from your large intestines to your face muscles, where there is no expression to be seen. You're looking down. Is it to me? You have wings on you. Does that mean that you are an angel from heaven? If so, have you met Kurt? I wonder how he's doing now. Did he finally reach a state of peace? Something he struggled to find on earth? I do have a question for you. Will I ever be like you? I envy how you spend your time. You just float on clouds and come down as you please. I hate having to say all these apologies to the world. If I were you, I would fly away to wherever I wish. I hope to meet you one day, because when I do, I know I've reached the state of nirvana. And then now, I finished this poem about 10 minutes ago, like how he would turn my assignments for his class. And this is the color This is called the color red. When it was coloring time during second grade, my teacher asked me what crayons I wanted. I'd ask for any color besides red. I never liked the bright and strong tone it has. It always reminded me of the feelings it carries. Drawing with the red crayon on the paper, anger would be seen all over. I love drawing trees with the blue sky, as the sun sits on the corner of the page. Coloring the trees red will take the life it has away, having the tree burning as it stands. A red sky would turn a beautiful day into an angry time being outside. Coloring the sun red would take away its sunshine. As the years went on, I started to understand the color red. The world wasn't how I painted when I was 7. Colors seemed to get darker every year, yet red stayed the same. Although I wish my brother did as well. My brother loved the color red. He would wear it a lot, on his hat, on his pants, and his shirt. One day I noticed that his eyes were very red. Once, he always had these white eyes that would pierce you, would show you light. I always looked up to him. And there were days where I didn't see him as I used to. I saw him grow up as he did with me. Then one day he never came home again, and now I realize why I don't like the color red. And that was it.
All right, thank you. You know, it's cool. When I was a student and I would go back to elementary or grad school, or not before grad school, to my undergrad, and see my professor, they're like, oh my gosh, it's so cool to see you. And I get to see Alberta, I'm like, oh my gosh, I know how it feels now. I get to see them spreading their wings, doing all the cool stuff. And it's also strange because we met on Zoom. We had Zoom school, and I didn't know how tall he was. And so the first time I met him, was it last year? I was like, hey, what the hell? Oh, this is weird, man. But it's still cool because even though we were on Zoom and it was just little square boxes, or of course, actually Alberto, he put his camera on, which was really cool. But because we're so close and it was a creative writing class and we shared poems and we shared things that were very dear to us and very intimate and very, very heavy, it's as if we were in class in person the entire time. And it's really cool to see it now with all of us here together. It's such a great way to build, as I said, community. And this next speaker is someone who I didn't know, met him first the last time we were in person. And I think that they can become a real life friend, or our real life friend, which is weird to think because I think our phones and everything is real life these days. But Brenda, you're on up.
Hi, everyone. My name is Brenda Vaca, and thank you so much, Matt, for curating this space. I live about 20 minutes away in South Whittier, so it's good to be at an open mic nearby home. I'm going to read a couple of pieces. The first one from my book that I self-published in December called Riot of Roses. This is a shorter piece. I'm experimenting with memorization, so everyone, let's hope for the best. It's a shorty. Hey, YouTube. The unearthing. The unearthing is painful. The unearthing is deep. The unearthing is harder than you think. Over time, I had sunk. At first, a defense mechanism to keep me safe, or seemingly so, but then it became my greatest woe, to hide, to shrink, to dream big, and then do nothing. But I am something, and I am someone. There is a rising sun in me. My own diosa shakes awake, flutters her wings, then throws down her stake. She says, this is your life to live. You cannot just keep wandering. It's time to come clean. It's time to unearth this poetic dream. Poem. The next one is new. And I think I've only read it on a Zoom. So we'll see how this one goes. This is a poem called Comfort. We just want to be comforted. Papachar, my mother says, to be pampered, patted, touched, assured, held, and be told in crooning whispers, everything is going to be all right. Nos hemos papachado tanto que ya no sentimos los chingazos. We have numbed ourselves so deeply with drugs, sex, food, shopping, power, Sunday fun day, gold dollars, that we have blinded ourselves to the desecrations committed against Madre Tierra. Mother, forgive us, have we not sinned? Capitalism, colonization has ravaged your and our bodies. We have been held hostage with knees on our necks. We have been thrown into freezers and cages when we have fled our homelands for the sake of survival. They have ripped our children from our hands and our bodies. This predatory evil buried these little ones in mass graves and in the walls of churches, and all these years later are uncovered. This valley of dry bones is filled with breath from the four winds. Our ancestors rise in us, a vast army. We stand to our feet. Mother Earth does not despise us. She rises up to heal. Fire comes to purify us in her rage. Waters fall and rush and run in order to cleanse. The earth shakes to move us to action and wake us up. The wind blows to clear it all away, sometimes gentle, and sometimes her hand is harsh and heavy. Is this the end of the line? Is this the last tunnel before we circle back home? These trains are filled with stories and our songs. They bring comfort and have held us together. Nos papachan el mero alma, straight through flesh and bones to the center of our spirits. Thank you so much. I am Brenda Vaca.
Thank you, Brenda. The line that stuck out to me the most was Valley of Bones, Valley of Dried Bones. And I was like, I got to write it down. That was awesome. The other cool thing, and I'm going to try and say a bunch of stuff every time I come up here, just a little bit, keep us moving. But Brian is my best friend and my audio engineer guy. He's helping with all the audio stuff. I don't know how to do it. I was trying to work with it, and he's like, it's that. Just like, just a little tiny, he's doing all these cool things. And yesterday we spent like 6 hours, something like that, practicing and looking at different equipment for today. And there was I think it was the compression, and we were moving it up and down, and I heard nothing, and he heard everything, and I'm like, dude, you're high. But it's such a cool thing, and it's working. And push the button, do it, the connect with us. Usually I'm the one that does all the buttons, so this is cool. I hope it changed. If you are online here, social media, and Brenda, you can come back, you can share your social media. I'll try and type it up on there also, nervousghostpress.org, www.nervousghostpress.org, ghosts@nervousghostpress.org. You can email me. We have our current submissions open for the waiting room. It's our new literary journal, and it is for everything, art, psychology, history, theories. I don't care what it is. If you write it, it's creative writing. I want to see it. I want to read it. Submit it. Submissions are always free, and we read everything, or I read everything anyways. And so if I know you, I'll still read it. No, I'm just kidding. I can't read it if I know you. But submit, talk to me if I'm here, email us, and so on. But our next speaker is, again, someone that we met through the community, and he's back, which is really awesome. And it's one of the three Matthews. No, there's two Matthews and one Matt. This is the other Matthew, or maybe I'm the other Matthew. But Matthew, where are you? I see you over there. Come on down. You, yeah. All right, he's all the way in the back. He's walking.
Thank you, Matt. Okay. Good. Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. I was here the first time for the in-person. The last time I came, I did more of a melancholy poem. Today, I'm gonna try to do more of a happier one. To preface this, I am a current elementary school teacher in South Central Los Angeles. So this poem was written for all the teachers and my fellow colleagues and anyone who is in the education field, but I wrote it for everyone to hear. So yes. Okay, so, and just to preface again, my name is Matthew, but my kids call me Mr. E. That's what all the faculty calls me, Mr. E. My last name is Escalera, so they call me Mr. E because a lot of them don't want to pronounce it, so there it is. Okay. They want to uncover the mystery of Mr. E. Well, this is for the teachers. We some lean, mean, teaching G's. We educate. We don't hesitate to radiate positive energy. I'm 32 deep, strapped up from the feet, pencils, erasers, notebooks. We locked and loaded. We're aiming for them A's. Rival schools want to diss. I'll catch you on the football field. Pass it, homie. The only thing these days I'm passing is knowledge. And yes, that is. So that was on another note. I only had one today, but yes, thank you guys for all having me. You guys have been awesome.
Thank you, Mr. E. And, shout out to all the educators, because without the educators, I don't think many of us would be here. And speaking of educators, I'm moving this educator to the next spot because Matthew inspired me. And this is my colleague. And you were here last time and you're here again today, which is super great. Great to see you. Lorena, come on.
All right, hi everybody. So this is a poem I wrote about my friend who grew up without a father, and so this poem was just me trying to imagine just a possible story about that. Michael, my son, I recognize you, you who walked towards me wearing those green and white 175 pair of Jordans, stretching that Miami jacket you got from your cousin, walking in that arrogant strut taught by your neighborhood. I walked away from your mother and hid myself in the rusty shell of a big rig. At every stop, a feigned name, leaving before it becomes too familiar. My history of histories evaporates like the diesel exhaust, and now, with the beard and fervor to live, you submissively breathe in the dust that has become your home, the one I left you. I notice your pace quickens as I lie on my hotel bed in Casper, Wyoming, a throne of empty glass bottles and a capsized box of cigars. The quietly static television lights the room, and heavy drops of sweat and tears shake my vision, awakened by your walking, apologetically awakened by your walking. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. It's kind of funny too because we work in the same building on this. Are we on the same floor? Are you? Oh, we're not on the same floor. Never mind. I had something all cool planned out. But we're working in the same building, and this is what brought us closer. And it's so cool that even though we work in a very not a small space, but it's a very finite space, there's something that is bigger than what we do as other than kind of where and who we are in here and all this cool stuff. And up next is my friend and the third Matt out of the Matthew, Mr. E group. And it's kind of cool. I kind of like it. I like being one of the three Matts. And so, Matt, take it.
Thanks, Matt, for having me. I got 2 books. I guess I'll do one from each. See, some are born to summer homes and palatial groves, where pain was only to ever unfold from the pages of secret gardens where red fern grows, but not I. See, I come from the stock of starry astronauts who greet the night sky with big dreams and wide eyes, always running down the devil's highway through occupied America, on the way back to house on Mango Street, and all the books you don't want us to read. Raised on handball off the back wall of a panaderia born east the river post Mendez versus Westminster, one generation with red lines and diplomas that were signed that those dreams in that skin need not apply. See, I come from struggle. And if my story offends you, it is only because you made the mistake of seeking your reflection in my self-portrait. See, this might not be about you, because some are born of the common core, whose reflected faces grace the pages of doctrine discovered and age to be explored, where old world hardships crashed against new shores, New England, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York. For others, pushed off Turtle Island. Aslan, do not call this brown-skinned immigrant. Child of the sun, son of the conquest, Mexicano blood, running through the veins of the east side of Los Angeles. Do not tell him your native tongue his song will best be sung. Do not tell me who I am, because I was raised just like you. Miseducated in some of those very same schools off lessons and legends of honest Indians and Christian pilgrims and a nation of immigrants all united in freedom. That isn't until they pulled aside my white friend, pointed directly at me and said, Scott, I judge you by the company you keep, and you spend your time with this. And that same old story, it's 1846. The adventures of Uncle Sam, the stick-up man, a wetbag. Show me your papers, now give me your labor. The melting pot was never made for the hands that clean it. The American dream has always come at the expense of those who tucked it in. You don't know that, because you don't teach it. Could write you a book, but you won't read it. So you know this is about you. In 1492, in the Treaty of Guadalupe, and California missions and Arizona schools, and these racists that try to erase us as their kids in cities that bear our names. But you're going to learn some today, from Ferdinand to Minuteman, from Arpaio to Alamo, from Popo to Joaquin the Indian, that lives in me from 8 to 8 to 1543, and try to bury us. They didn't know we were seeds, Canadian minds, they don't strike the Plandeola, Bizapata, Joaquin Murrieta, that's Adelitas, Brown Berezi, Zapatistas, from Richard Nixon, they're Napoleon, from Peckinpah to Houston, from Lone Star Republic to Christopher Columbus, all the way down to Donald Trump. We didn't cross the borders crossed us. Who you calling immigrant? Pilgrim. So that book is that's from Mowing Leaves of Grass, my first collection, which is currently being taught at UC Berkeley, at Madison, at schools all throughout the country, but in good places too, like East LA College. Yeah. This next poem is from this next collection, which is the current collection, City on Second Floor, which came out this year. It's a persona poem, meaning this isn't me, right? I'm pretending to be somebody. So don't protest me. I've actually had people protest me while I was doing this poem. And the funny thing is, it's not like I'm like some like racist or whatever. No. I'm pretending to be a billionaire. So it's like, yeah, buddy, I'm a billionaire, and I came to this open mic in Downey to brag in 8 of your poor faces. You know, that's what's going on here today. No. So don't protest me. I'm not rich. In fact, I need you to support me and buy my book. So this poem's called The Rich. All right. The rich! Well, they're not like you and me. They see an opportunity, they grab it. Reach for the stars, and they put them in their pocket. Company stays in the red, but they're backed by the government. Snort the public dime to lines of pure profit. Research and development. The rich, well, they different breed. Champagne wishes and caviar dreams. Thoroughbred stallions. Quarter match on the sea. Deepwater horizon, blood diamonds. Golden parachutes. Silicon messiahs. Feasting on endangered species. Served on silver platters. Winter palaces carved from tips of icebergs. 6-figure charters. Vulture capital. $1 million cufflinks fucking life like an apple. Insured by suicide nets. Lifestyles of the criminally negligent, but you haven't lived. So you've launched a car into space for no reason. That's what I call freedom. The rich, well, here's how it is. Dollars and cents. Trademark and rent. Facts and figures, lines on a ledger, derivatives and debt, building the future, increasing productivity, union busting back to the 100-hour work week, treating the fat, producing monopolies with real money, shorts, and bets. That, my friend, is how the rich stay rich while the rest make poor decisions in its pure ecstasy, living in the lap of luxury, pushing pharmaceuticals to markup. The market will bear your body to its altar at a life or death bargain. The gospel of wealth, because it is what it is, and that's all it's ever been. The less we spend, the more we keep. You see, the rich and the poor, well, just like you and me. 2 hands, 2 feet. The sky, the sea, and one heart that beats in the time to make the most of us. You find no sympathy reaching into these deep pockets. All we ever asked was for our fair share, and God damn it, that's all of it. So we're on the streets screaming for peace and justice. We sleep in satin sheets, dreaming free and guiltless over oceans and tariffs, liquidating pensions off the bid on porcelain and portraits at billion-dollar auctions. You know you need us. You know we're selling your secrets. You know some DNA kids watching the puppets on television. Made freedom, free speech, fascism, democracy will reach in the earth and punch through the ozone with fuel the economy with space stations. Yes, space stations hydrating the red planet. We're gonna survive this lava pit. So we got pots and pans, we got deeds and plans, chopping down rainforest, colonizing the moon. We're the rich. Who the are you? We'll privatize the water supply and then copyright the tears falling from your eyes. Burn it all down. What the hell are you talking about? The ice caps already melting. You want to start some eat the rich? We're already killing your kids. 1 carbon footprint, 1 gas house emission, 1 oil rig, 1 naval ship, 1 free trade agreement at a time. We'll get away with it too. Nothing we say or do is ever held against us. Haven't you been paying attention? We're rich. All right. 2 books. This one's like the ethnic studies one. This one's like the sociology one. So, boom.
Thank you, Matt. I don't know if anybody heard it, but the other Matt said Matt's rule. I 100% agree. And so hang out with Matt, see him after, get all his books, buy them, support everybody. That's why we're here. Thank you, Matt. The coolest thing about, I don't know about the coolest thing about the internet, one of the cool things about the internet is that we can advertise and say that this event is happening and it exists and it's real and it's a thing that people can come to. And the next speaker contacted me from there, right? I think so. Signed up through whatever it was. It was really awesome. And I don't know who they are. Never met them before. It's really awesome. And this is kind of the coolest thing about open mic is it's 100% open. Also, my other best friend is over there. He's Zach, and just in case I had to call him out. I can't turn the camera, but he's wearing a red hat and a blue shirt and tan shorts. Good to see you. All right, Brandon.
How's it going, everyone? Yeah, as he stated, we actually met on Eventbrite, if you guys don't know what that is. So I'm a firm believer in art. This is actually my first open mic, so I'm gonna give it my best shot, but I just wanna applaud every single one of you. Thank you. I wanna applaud every single one of you for coming out here and giving it your all. Again, firm believer in art. I think it's the best outlet there is just to release all the things we're going through, and I know I've been going through some stuff, so I'm about to, read you a little something. So I call this one 5:55. 5:30 a.m. It's happening again. The walls are collapsing and my emotions are falling. My heart is racing. I can't breathe. I can't sleep. I clench my pillow viciously and prepare myself for the feeling I know all too well. I reminisce about the days when I would just close my eyes and dream. I would let your soul awaken me with a voice as sweet as can be. You would make me feel so safe and so heard. Your embrace stabilized me and reminded me that everything would be okay. My feelings were always valid and my heart was at peace. And as you held my head, a smile overtook my face. The endorphins would come flooding in like a river in spring. I used to be ecstatic to start my day, but now that you're gone, I try to breathe so I can try to face my demons head on. I can no longer sleep, eat, or read. The past has overtaken my life. My lover, my best friend, is gone. It's a lonely void from which I can't seem to escape. It's 6 a.m. now, and I'm screaming into my hands. I squeeze my face and let out a big yelp. I punch the floor. I rip out our books. My face gushes tears as I replay our songs for the 50th time. I look for Mom and ask her for help. I tell her, Mom, I can't do this anymore, please. I don't want to be alive anymore. I just want to die. As my mother, please save me. I just want it all to end. I hear my baby sister gasp next to me and lightly weep as I shut my mouth. I embrace with Mom as she clutches her son. He's no longer a child. He's become a young man with so much potential. Yet he's scared and doesn't know what to do. He's crying every night and trying to run away. He feels so alone and helpless too. He dives headfirst into work and helping the world. But how can he change the world when he can't even change himself? It's 7 a.m. now and the tears are gone. It's time to get ready to face the day. He embraces with Mother one last time, but this time it's different. There's a change to be made. He picks up a pen and writes this all down. It's his first poem, which he promises to share. Because if there's one thing that I've come to learn, it's that loving others is beautiful, but loving yourself comes first. You're the priority, and you have to fight your battles head on. Help is inevitable, because screaming and crying can only take you so far. My father is dead, and my girlfriend is left. They're not coming back, and the pain continues to rebound. I've come to accept this, but I choose not to stay the same. I hope with me sharing my quaint little story, it will help you to remember that feelings are valid, and the episodes are too. Life must go on, because it takes no breaks. So hopefully it's inspired you to take action and rise, because remember that you are not alone in this game we call life. Feel free to come talk to me. I'm not mean, I'm just kind of tall. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. And you know, the thing about writing that I enjoy the most is that it allows us to get whatever's in here, put it on a piece of paper. We can manipulate a piece of paper, we can crumple it, we can burn it, we can eat it, we can throw it away, we can do all those things. And it lets us turn all that ugliness and that scariness into something beautiful that others can connect with, that others can listen and really, really kind of show us that we are more than skin and bones. Thank you, Brandon. The next speaker is another stranger, which is kind of cool. And they're sitting somewhere in that direction. And there's two people in that direction. And I don't know which one knows it's them yet. Although one of them's a stranger, the other one's not a stranger, I suppose. So I kind of gave it away. But we have our journal out, and this individual submits some work. And I haven't read it yet, so don't ask me. I haven't read it yet, I promise. But it's really cool because they emailed and said, dude, I live there. And I was like, holy shit, show up. And so they're here. And so, Jackie, I'm excited to hear what you got. And come on down.
Hello. This is my first time here. So I'm going to go ahead and read an old poem and a new poem and some haiku. I'm a short form poetry writer, but I also write free verses. The first one is called Cerulean. My mother clad me in pink, and later in my teens, lavender. But the blue was always there beneath the pastel colors. It was in my genes, blue with its melancholia and myriad synonyms, azure and cerulean. My mood is a spectrum of different shades of blue, including royal and navy. The sky and the sea are blue with every variation in between, turquoise and indigo. Blue is behind my strawberry-colored smile. And the next poem I'm going to read is actually about, the first one is about my mother, second one is about my father. Father's Day. Father, Father, you peeled the smile off of my face and yellowed my soul. With talks of your pain, your struggles, sugarcoating everything and letting the venom seep in afterwards. The $20 you left on the ironing board every other week kept my mouth shut. Like bandages, they fell off, leaving my wounds to bleed profusely. It is easy to pretend not to know, to be cold like snow. But Father, Father, the men I meet are a lot like you. They melt my morals with the heat of love making. And I learn to say yes, to go along with their every whim. My pliant flesh bears all the misery you gave mother. I get crushed, damaged, then recover, only to begin all over again. Thank you. So now I'm gonna probably read a newer poem. It's called Me and My Doppelganger Converse. She is pumpkin-brained gossamer's flesh. I am mouth agape, tongue cherry slurpy red. Ideas woven with flimsy threads. She is an emerald-eyed milkmaid, lovesick protagonist. I am the enemy, the cheeks streaked with lemon-sour tears. She is Smurf-like melancholy, Pepto-Bismol pink. I am a citrus chapstick kiss, fruity gum bubble on the verge of popping. She is a flowering hedge, the glimmer in a cat's eyes. I am childhood stains on an off-white canvas, the lukewarm air. She is the story of which I am the narrator. So do I have time for a couple haiku? Winter melon tea, the acquired taste of solitude. Honeymoon over, the stale taste of donut shop croissant. Insufficient funds, scooping the last strand of couple noodles. Posh restaurant, my father nibbling on the garnish leaf. Eating ice cream, the precision of my chopsticks. A Shirley Temple drink without cherries. First heartbreak. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. I want to comment on your work, but I can't just in case one of those you submit. I feel like that's against the rules somehow. I like haikus, though. The next speaker, I have a story first. And my first ever poetry show was in 2013. And the individual, the faculty member who introduced me, did so first by saying I was nervous, and I told her, oh my gosh, if I can do this and I can do anything, I can go speak in front of strangers and meet people and all these other things. If you can ask Brian and Zach later how I was before I would talk to nobody. And so of course it made sense that the moment before I went up on stage to do my very first ever open mic, she would tell everybody in the audience that was such a big deal for me. And I was like, thanks. And I'm thinking of it as kind of a rite of passage because this next speaker told me that they were nervous to show up. It's not their first open mic, but they have the nerves kind of brewing in the kneecaps. I don't know where they're actually. I'm not a doctor, but wherever the nerves brew. And so, Sin, I hope you're not more nervous because I called you out, but you might be, which was the entire point. All right, Sin, come on down here and share your work.
All right. So like he said, it's my first open mic, so I'm really nervous. All right. Can you help me? I lost you again. I'm sad because we said we were going to do better. You said you didn't deserve me, and I tried convincing you of all the good things that you deserved. All I wanted was to hang on to you. But what had happened was I brought all my past pain and trauma to your doorstep to collect in a box of things and sort through when you had a minute. All I needed was the bright future that I had begun to toil and till for. But what had happened was you stayed in hurtful, dark corners that I couldn't pull you out of. All I wanted was to heal with you, to be your refuge and you mine, but I am not a safe house. In fact, this house of mine has broken glass windows that no one can peek in. This house of mine is learning not to say sorry with my body. This house of mine is learning to apologize without a bottle. This house, this home I have built, she's got good bones. Just ignore the monsters in the corners. They play big with your fears, but I tell them that they can't stay. They're not allowed. So I picked up my heart to give it a rest, reminded myself that needing and wanting are different and should be treated accordingly. And all at once I command, you're gonna feel again without feeling this again. One day. That one's called We Were Beautiful. Thanks. So this next one is for my mom. We lost her in 2017. So grief is a heavy thing for those of us that have lost, and so I guess this is me putting it down. It's October again, and I want marigolds and ofrendas. I want summer nights with you on the porch talking to Tia. I want to come home and get scared because I didn't see you both sitting there. I feel like I could still hear you both laughing. I feel like I could still hear you. So I dove into God and I kneeled in altars until my knees bled. I counted beads of rosaries that weren't mine until my fingers calloused and cracked. I watched the way nuns moved and the way preachers spoke, because I thought if they were the closest to God, and if I mimicked all that they did, I could fake it until I make it. One nun told me that I needed discipline, so I stood in my room for hours holding a Bible in both my hands like when they crucified Jesus. Another nun told me that I needed to sacrifice, so I fasted for 2 weeks before the summer's heat collapsed my will. One preacher told me that I needed confession, so I went every Wednesday and Sunday until I was convinced I was running out of all the words that I could say. Then one Sunday I thought I heard snoring and I was convinced. I recited Bible verses on the way to and from both jobs when I was tired and sad. I drowned in whiskey, read all the poems, I missed old lovers, tried to do everything I could to expel the sad. I prayed with my eyes open and my mouth shut. But Sundays hurt so much, I thought I was gonna crawl out of my skin. Until finally one night I dreamt of marigolds. My dreams would then become sunflower seeds, and I could hear you tell me to get better. I heard you tell me that it wasn't me who died, so I needed to get up and live. I need to get up and love. And then you told me to stop stepping into churches. Stop stepping into churches with no intention of respecting the word, and that holy men and women are human too, and they are cloaked in mistakes. You told me to stop looking up and begin looking within, that maybe my journey wasn't a holy one, but that didn't mean it couldn't be spiritual. And before I awoke, you whispered sweetly as lavender. Remember, Ninny, You weren't born from my womb, but from my heart. You were born from love, so be love. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yay! Thank you, Sin. And if any of you are interested in more of Sin's work, you could buy Milestone from the ELAC bookstore. It is awesome. And they have the 2021 version. And it's student edited, student run, student designed, and it's super cool. So go get it. It's at the ELAC bookstore. That's East LA College. I don't know if the bookstore has an online thing yet, but it does. Online too, ELAC bookstore online. The next speaker, and we have about 2 more. So if anybody is interested, come just give me a look, and we'll connect, and I'll put you on the list somehow. I'll figure out your name. And this next person walked up to me today, or I think it was Instagram on one of the accounts, and said, "Can I sign up?" I was like, "Hell yeah!" So Diego, the next stranger on the list of strangers.
Hey, what's up, guys? Is that too close? I'm going to kind of do this like punk rock. I'm going to try to say as many short poems as I can as a short amount of time as I can. So the other poets that I heard were really great. So especially thank you for Brewjeria, and thank you for these guys too, and showing my gratitude. This one's called Grocery Shopping. Bananas, milk, a box of Ritz, tuna, carrots, a bag of chips. Wait, this isn't a poem. It's my grocery list. This one's called On a Wall in Rialto, California. With all of life's misfortune and all the ships sunk, it's best to stay asleep and it's best to stay drunk. This next one's called I Don't Need a Therapist, I Need a Gardener. They say the grass is greener on the other side, but the grass is dead on both yards of mine. This next one's called Ketchup Stain. Soaked with misery, a drenched towel, wring me out, then throw me into a dirty laundry pile. This one's called Nobody Likes a Happy Poet. It happened so naturally, I grasped onto poetry, a pen in my hand, I was born. I needed it then and I need it now, a way to express my forlorn. This one's called To My Sister. I fell into a black abyss and sunk further in. Wind brushing through my hair, arms flailing thin. Bottom headed to the floor, falling deep and deep, and it's because you forgot to put down the toilet seat. This one's called Fruit. There's a fruit called life, only the rich can buy. The poor get scraps, hardly enough to suffice. Leisure is for the wealthy, leisure I can't afford. Pleasure cruises for the rich, and only work for the poor. This one's called Drug Use. I sit on the TV and I watch the couch. I sit on a needle and begin to slouch. This one's called Gum. Love came, love ran. I ponder what can last, your piece of gum in my hand. This one's called Chickens. I have a love, and we got chickens that run all over our yard. It pisses me off, and I chase them very far. She scolds me every time, but I never care. She tells me them chickens are her friends, and I shouldn't dare. I laugh and say, woman, they ain't. She slapped me 2 times and said I ought to behave. This one's called Saturday Night. The spark wouldn't set, so we laid in regret, said I should go, you couldn't care less. And this is my last one. It's called Boiling Pot. A clock ticks, a boy cries, a pot boils, a lobster dies. And thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Diego. I expect you next time, too. All right, our final speaker, but before I introduce him, I want to give a little story. When we met in 2013 at my first official outside of a school function open mic. And I saw the video. I was going to show my students kind of the progression of me reading like this. My legs, my hands were all moving. My hands in my pockets all the time. I think I put my hands in my pockets today too. But everything was shaking. Now the shaking is just on the inside, and it's a little bit easier to deal with. I think we realize that the shaking happens. It's not going to stop, but we just get a little bit, we kind of retrofit our knees and our bones to deal with the shaking. And so Jeffrey Martin was the MC at the open mic that I went to for the very first time. I sang a song there once, and I've never sang a song since, and I've never heard it, and I won't. But it was a huge kind of stepping stone. I got kind of addicted to going out and reading for the first time and doing the thing that scared me for the first time, and I thought, okay, it was songs. And it turned out it was a song, and that was it. And so, Jeffrey, I'm happy to see you, and welcome.
It's good to be here. It really is. Poetry saves lives. It really does. I don't host there anymore. It was at Tia Chucha's, and so many people have come up. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. Yep. Anyway, at Tia Chucha's, I hosted, and so many people would come in the audience and wouldn't want to read, wouldn't want to share their stuff. And eventually they would share it, and we'd have all these fabulous stories. So poetry, yeah, it does a lot of things. Anyway, I had a chance to, Noam Chomsky is one of my heroes. I've read some of everything by Noam Chomsky. And I had a chance to actually sit down and meet him. And the way that I worked it out was, Noam Chomsky, Mr. Chomsky, I want to meet you, and based on our conversation, I want to create poetry out of our conversation. He was like, wow, nobody's ever done that before. So I drove to Arizona, where he lives now, and we sat down in his office, and he had 3 pictures. He had a picture of Martin Luther King, Father Romero, and Bertrand Russell. So when I go in the office, and he's like, where do you want to sit? He's trying to make me comfortable, right? And I'm like, it doesn't matter. I said, wow, that's a good picture of Father Romero. He says, you know who that is? I said, yeah. He said, you're the first person to walk in my office and know who Father Romero is. I said, well, I'm like you, Mr. Chomsky. I'm a nerd. I read everything. So that's what got me here. But anyway, so this is the poem. The book is called Muse Moments. It's poetry inspired by Noam Chomsky. So everything in here was either inspired by him or directly, or something inspired by something he had said, and I wrote it. And I got his okay on it. I said, can you put your picture on it? And he said, yeah. So I was looking at a video. Me and a friend were looking at some videos just about world stuff, and I saw these kids in cages, and it just bothered me. These little brown kids in cages. I'm like, who has a job that would put kids in cages? And so this poem came from that. It's called What Have We Become? What have we become when we scream about borders and whisper about children in little cages called necessary? We are that horror movie finding its reality that makes one cover their eyes and cringe, for no longer is it necessary to look beneath beds or in closets for our greatest fears. It walks among us in plain sight, wearing suits and badges and skirts and middle-class aspirations. Its breath is bad, but it talks too much to notice the toxicity, polluting every blade of grass, east of here, west of there, north of this, south of that. It made no sense when it was black skin. It made no sense when it was red skin. It made no sense when it was brown skin. It made no sense when it was a woman's skin. It made no sense when it was a Christian, a Muslim, a Buddhist, an atheist, a communist, a revolutionary. It never made any sense. It was unthinkable, ungodly, despicable, and divisive. It was us at our lowest, we thought. But we now surprise even the wicked. For what have we become when we turn our vileness towards the children? How do we sleep comfortably knowing that babies sleep in pint-sized cages put there by adults who are doing their motherfucking job? What have we become when we close doors on small dreamers because they are viewed as a threat to someone, somehow, somewhere? Do tyrants ever see their victims? Do monsters feel the fear of their prey? We can now answer those questions because we have become the horrific entity lurking in the shadows. waiting to pounce not only on the unaware, but also the seeds, the blades of green, which are supposed to bring new growth and vibrancy, but find themselves hemmed in by what we've become. Aren't we supposed to love our children, your children, all children? What have we become when the young have turned into statistics, into uncomfortable alliances to our greed and selfishness, unwanted by purveyors of half-truths and whole lies? Have all of us gone mad, or have too many of us grown silent in the face of evil, cowering in the presence, numbed by its language and hypnotized by its face? Since when did children become threats to national security and recipients of so much scorn? What law was passed separating us from empathy that in the past was seen as a bridge to progress and advancement? Who signed the papers incriminating us all in the slaying of spirits at borders created by men who had no business drawing lines in sand that was never peacefully handed over to them? What have we become when we turn our architects of the future into monsters of our imaginations? If we will not fight for them, what excuse can we give, and what excuse is acceptable? What have we become? This next one is called Game. Mr. Chomsky really liked this one. And it came from, there was a friend of mine was getting ready to have a baby, and she wanted to keep the afterbirth. And the hospital wouldn't allow her to. She said, well, it's from my body, why can't I keep my own afterbirth? They wouldn't let her do it. She was back and forth with them. So she told me that story, and that got me upset. I'm like, man, they got us, I mean, it's just like this game. They always win. So I wrote this. They give you 9 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, to begin the process. Steal your mother's placenta, wrap you in hospital garb, and take mental notes before the camera can be adjusted. Then the onslaught begins. You are given a name, a race, a gender, a neighborhood, a set of values, a flag, a television, a radio, toys. And then the game becomes complicated, evasive, hidden. The cameras are now rolling. Everything is scripted except you. The room is wired. Your words are analyzed and predicated on prompts already in place. You have no idea. You have no idea. You have no idea that you have never had a single thought that was your own. Even your rebelliousness has an index. Paid robots bring your music, dictate your speech pattern, and determine which clothes shall protect you from a warming climate. In cozy rooms, every argument is designed, packaged, and augmented to draw you away from thinking. Your brain, no longer yours, repeats cryptic messages that you don't understand, because that requires critical observation, a vice separated at birth, refrigerated alongside the afterbirth. It is all one big blur. Teachers are limited, so they limit. Leaders rehearse their fairy tales for payouts and favor, and so you acquire stories instead of truth. You watch games where winners know what routines to use and losers what face to make. Your response is always heated. They are watching for the slightest flicker of thought. That would be treasonous. Everything you know is scripted, federally funded, and boardroom stamped. There are no random occurrences. There are no random occurrences. This game is not a competition, but an insurance policy filed away but never far from placenta and baby. That's game. Thank you.
Got it. Thank you, Jeffrey. And you know what? And there are no random occurrences. I think we're all here for a purpose. I think we're all here because we're supposed to be. And is anybody out there supposed to be here to read next? No? It didn't work? Who wants to go again? Go again. All right, last one for reals. Thank you, Jeffrey.
I'm back again. All right, so this next one, one of my favorite flowers has always been a sunflower. Not sure why. That's all right. Happens. So yeah, I wanted to examine how, like, I guess the life of a sunflower is, and I guess the life of your loved ones when they eventually pass. It's called a beautiful death. I've always found it odd that something so beautiful as a sunflower eventually loses its life and color over time. There isn't enough water, sunlight, or fertilizer to keep the sunflower to be blooming forever. There's something beautiful about the death of a flower. You're able to experience it from a seed to a blooming flower in spring. You get to experience the flower in its prime beauty and their colors beautiful as bright shining star. Standing tall with all the hope in the world. It's sad when you start seeing the yellow fade from the sunflower instead of standing tall in the pot. It begins to slouch. You see the flower become weak. Water doesn't do much, neither does the sunlight, and the fertilizer doesn't help. You eventually have to lay the flower to rest. It may not have lived long, but you were able to watch it grow into the radiant flower it was meant to be. That was that. You can clap now if you want. And then I will do this next one. It's called My Ex. No, it's not about an ex-girlfriend or ex-partner for all you toxicas and toxicos out there thinking that. The last poem I read with the color red was actually about drugs, if you couldn't tell, about the red in the pupils. And I usually like talking about drugs because I feel like it's a reality that a lot of people still go through. Especially if you grew up in Southern California, like East LA, shout out Boyle Heights, or if you grew up in South Central, or anywhere in particular, there's always drugs, no matter what color your skin is, where you come from. I mean, even in the poem of the rich mentioned drugs, you know? So it affects all of us, and I call this one My Ex. I met you at a party that I can barely recall. I saw your beauty, which made me haul towards you. You made a promise of a beautiful world for me. Then we said we need to flee now. Once we kissed, the world became brighter. As I held you tighter, my anxiety fled. For once, I did feel like I wasn't dead. Till death do us part, my love. I started to realize something about you. No matter what I do, you never leave my side. We're both Bonnie and Clyde, always together, till death do us part, my love. I went to date other girls, but it never worked. I kept thinking about how much I love you. A girl with a crystal dress and a white hair came to me. She was hard to please, unlike you, my ex. I know we are meant to be till death do us part. It doesn't matter whether they say you're toxic. You're always going to be there for me. Even when I try to quit you, I'll always be back. I'll tell you the whole world, my love, you'll see, till death do us part. I love my ex so much she soothes me. I trust her so much she brings me glee. I know she'll wake me up in the AM. She'll bring me to a world without mayhem, till death do us part, my love. How was that? And then I always like writing poems about some of the artists that have inspired me. Mainly like musical artists. I don't know if you can tell. I really like Nirvana and Kurt Cobain mainly. And this next one is a particular artist I don't feel like I should relate to, but I do through her voice. Anyone know Amy Winehouse? And I just am able to relate the way she's saying. It just speaks to me. Despite me never being heartbroken by a guy, I can relate to that. I still understood the message and the pain she felt and some of the stuff that she went through. So I wrote this one called My Girl. I wake up alone without you. My stomach aches with pain. There's only one thing that'll satisfy me, is that taste of your cherry lip gloss. I wish I could hold you for one more day. I can't anymore, for you have left this world. I remember locking eyes with you. Your eyes had the same loneliness as me, which I knew we'd understand each other. Your voice had a sense of sadness I only recognized. When you sang, I felt the sorrow we both did, the way you always lit up the stage when you entered. I can't forget about your beautiful smile, even though you hated your imperfect smirk. I was mesmerized by your sparkling smile. My girl, I'm saddened you left me with this pain. What will I do with all the love I have for you? I'm happy you can rest, for your sadness has been lifted. That's that. If you can clap if you want. That's about it.
All right, thank you, Alberto. And if you like his work, it's also in Milestone 2021 at East LA College. So go buy it. Go buy all of them. Thank you, everybody, for being here in person. Thank you, those who are watching now and watching later, like a future thank you if you pay attention. The press, we are Nervous Ghost Press, and we exist for you, for the community, for art, to prove that art brings us together, that art is something that heals us, and art as healing. I think we saw it today. We saw how we can come together, how we can take apart everything that hurts. And hold on, we got a surprise appearance, maybe. Where you going over there, guy? You want to hop on up here? This is my other close friend, Dennis and Desi. So hang out while Dennis and Desi get set up. You hang out too.